There are moments in life where the voices of fear speak louder than faith. When the winds howl, when the path grows dim, and the night grows long, the soul cries out, "Am I forgotten? Am I forsaken?" But hidden in the ancient words of the psalmist is a revelation so powerful, so eternal, that it shatters the silence of despair. It is not just a verse or poetic passage. It is a covenant, a divine whisper echoing through the ages. And it is this: I will never leave you. The 23rd Psalm is more than a comfort read at funerals or a soft song in hard times. It is a declaration of war against the lie that you are alone. It is the voice of the shepherd resounding through the valley, through the battle, through the broken places. It is the eternal breath of the Almighty declaring, "I am with you." These are not mere words. These are divine vows sealed with the presence of God Himself. You were not created to wander aimlessly or live like an orphan. You were designed for fellowship, led by the hand of the one who formed you. The shepherd does not forget his sheep. The king does not abandon his citizen. The father does not disown his child. And though the world may grow cold, though betrayals may come, though even the most faithful of men may walk away, there is one who never will. This is not the message of a man, or a tradition, or a religion. It is the very heartbeat of the Scriptures. From the garden to the wilderness, from the Red Sea to the upper room, from the manger to the cross, God has one message: I will be with you. And that message is alive today, just as it was in the days of David, when he penned those sacred lines from the depths of revelation. Psalm 23 is not a psalm of ease. It is a psalm of endurance. It is not written on the mountaintop alone, but from the valley, where shadows threaten and fear whispers. And in the very center of that psalm lies the promise: you are with me. It is not past tense, not future, but present, here, now, always. Tonight we open the scrolls, we step into the ancient paths, we uncover what the world has buried under religion and routine. We awaken to the truth that you were never meant to walk alone, not in the joy, not in the sorrow, not in the wilderness, not in the battle. You are not alone. The shepherd walks with you. The King has promised, and what he speaks, he fulfills. The Lord as the ever-present shepherd is not a poetic idea. It is a living reality, a truth so profound that it redefines how we walk through this life. The Scriptures declare that the Lord is our shepherd, and that truth speaks to every moment of our journey. A shepherd does not leave his sheep to wander, to stumble, to be devoured. He watches, he walks, he leads. He stands in front when danger approaches and behind when we lag. He is not absent. He is not distant. He is not watching from afar. He is here, present, nearer than your next breath. To say the Lord is present is to say He is actively involved in your every step. When you rise in the morning, He is there. When you lie down at night, He has not left. In the quiet and in the chaos, in the joy and in the tears, He is not a God who comes and goes. He is not seasonal, not a visitor, not a momentary comfort. He is constant. The shepherd never clocks out, never sleeps, never forgets. Even when you don't feel Him, He is there. Even when you wander, He follows. Even when you run, He runs with you. There are moments when the silence screams louder than words, when prayers go unanswered and the heavens feel shut. But the absence of noise is not the absence of God. His presence is not measured by emotion or circumstance. It is anchored in covenant. It is the nature of who He is. He is the I Am, the one who exists in every moment, in every breath. You may feel alone, but you are never abandoned. You may feel unseen, but you are watched over by the eyes that never sleep. The shepherd carries the wounds of his love for the sheep. He does not stand above in pride, but stoops low in compassion. He walks through thorns and valleys for your sake. And when you are lost, he leaves the 99 and seeks you out. Not because you are strong, but because you are his. He knows your name, he knows your wounds, he knows the path ahead before you take the step. The shepherd does not merely react. He prepares, he guides, he anticipates. You never walk into a valley he has not already surveyed. And when the wolves circle, when fear whispers, when the shadows creep, the shepherd does not run. He stands, he fights, he lays down his life. That is not the heart of a hireling. That is the love of a redeemer. A father, a king, one who says, I will not leave you. I will not forsake you. You are not alone. So walk with confidence, not because the path is easy, but because the one walking beside you cannot fail. He does not grow weary. He does not forget. He is the ever-present shepherd, and he is with you now. The valley is not the end. It is not the conclusion of your story, not the final word spoken over your life. The valley is a passage, a place of testing, a corridor between where you were and where you are going. In the natural, valleys are formed between mountains, low places surrounded by higher ground. Spiritually, they represent the places of trial, pain, confusion, and fear. But even in the midst of these dark and uncertain places, the presence of the shepherd does not depart. His rod and his staff, they are near. We often think God's presence is most tangible on the mountaintop, in the victory, in the answered prayer, in the breakthrough. But Psalm 23 reveals a deeper truth. It is in the valley of the shadow of death that David proclaims, You are with me. Not just in the green pastures, not only by the still waters, but in the shadow, in the thick of it. In the heart of darkness where no man can walk with confidence there, the shepherd is most near. The valley can feel endless. The shadows can seem to swallow the light. Questions rise, why am I here? How long will this last? Has God forgotten me? But hear this truth. The valley is not the place of abandonment. It is the place of intimacy. The place where fear is silenced not by the absence of threat, but by the nearness of the shepherd. His rod is your protection. His staff is your guidance. These are not just symbols. They are tools of warfare and love. The rod strikes down the enemy. The staff draws you back when you stray. He does not abandon you to the wolves. He prepares a way where none seems to exist. It is in the valley that faith is forged, not in theory, not in comfort, but in the crucible of trial. When you can't see the end, yet you keep walking. When the darkness closes in, yet you lift your eyes. When the shadows fall, yet you listen for the footsteps of the one who walks beside you. That is where your roots grow deep. That is where the anointing is pressed out. That is where your testimony is born. The valley is not the end. It is not your grave. It is your passage to glory. Even Jesus, the great shepherd himself, passed through the valley betrayed, beaten, crucified. But the valley did not hold him. It could not. And because it could not hold him, it will not hold you. Resurrection always follows the valley, so do not be afraid of the shadow. A shadow cannot exist without light. The presence of darkness only confirms that the light is near, and the light walks with you. He does not shout from the mountaintop. He whispers from beside you, the valley will pass, the shadows will lift, but the one who walks with you will remain forever. Restoration amidst chaos is not a poetic idea. It is the supernatural reality of a God who enters into brokenness and breathes life where there was none. When the world collapses, when foundations crumble, when the things you once trusted fall apart, the shepherd does not stand at a distance and wait for you to recover. He steps into the ruins, he moves toward the ashes, and there, in the midst of chaos, he restores your soul. The psalmist did not say that the Lord restores when life is calm, or when all things are in order. He said, "He restores my soul." And he said it in the context of a world surrounded by enemies, shadows, valleys, and uncertainty. Restoration is not an event at the end of the storm. It is the miracle that takes place during the storm. God does not wait until the battle is over to rebuild you. He does it in the middle of the war, with arrows still flying, with the dust still rising. The soul is the deepest part of you. It is where wounds hide, where fears root themselves, where pain leaves its echo. The world can touch your body, strip away your possessions, and shake your outer world. But only God can reach into the soul and make it whole again. When all seems lost, when the noise of the world is too loud to think, He does not simply calm your surroundings, He calms you. He speaks peace not to the storm first, but to your spirit. To restore means to bring back to the original design. But God does not merely return you to who you were. He renews you into something stronger, deeper, purer. Restoration in His hands is not about rewinding time. It is about redeeming time. What the enemy meant for evil, He repurposes for good. What was broken becomes beautiful. What was wounded becomes a wellspring of healing. In chaos, it is easy to believe that God is silent. But His work is often the quiet kind, like a potter shaping clay in stillness, like a gardener restoring a trampled vine. He is not absent. He is intentional. He is not delayed. He is deliberate. And while others may only see the outward mess, He is working on the inward miracle. When the world collapses, most people try to survive. But the shepherd offers something more. He restores. He brings you back from the edge. He lifts you out of despair. And He does not restore you to remain hidden. He restores you to walk again, to rise, to declare the goodness of God in the land of the living. There is something profoundly supernatural about the table that God prepares not after the war, not once the enemies are defeated, but right in the presence of those enemies. It is a table not of survival, but of favor. A table not hidden in safety, but laid out in the open, in full view of those who oppose, accuse, and desire your fall. It is not merely provision, it is honor. It is the declaration of a king who says, "This one is mine, and I will bless them even while the battle rages." To prepare a table is to create a place of fellowship, rest, and abundance. In the culture of David's time, a table represented acceptance, covenant, and communion. But here, the power lies not just in the table itself, but in its location, in the presence of your enemies. That means in the middle of conflict, betrayal, slander, spiritual attack, the shepherd does not remove you to a hidden corner. He sets you right in the open and says, "Eat, drink, rest, rejoice." The table is a place where God feeds you with His word, strengthens you with His Spirit, and anoints you with fresh oil. And while your enemies circle and watch, they cannot touch what God has declared as blessed. They cannot undo the favor He has placed upon you. In fact, the presence of your enemies only magnifies the power of the moment. Because when God blesses you in front of them, it is a testimony that no curse, no opposition, no darkness can cancel the plans of the Almighty. Too often, we pray for God to remove the enemy, to end the battle, to bring peace. But the promise of the table is greater than the removal of warfare. It is the revelation that God does not need the absence of conflict to bless you. He uses the conflict to highlight His glory. He does not need ideal conditions to lift you up. He will do it with mocking voices nearby, with threats still in the air, with the enemy watching every move. Because He is not limited by your surroundings, He defines them. This table also speaks of identity. You are not just surviving the presence of your enemies. You are thriving in it. You are chosen. You are seen. You are celebrated by the King, while others may try to diminish you. And nothing intimidates the enemy more than a child of God who eats in peace during a battle. That peace itself is warfare. That joy is a weapon. That rest is a declaration of victory already secured. Goodness and mercy are not passive. They do not simply exist around you as background blessings or quiet comforts. They are active, alive, and moving. They are in pursuit. Psalm 23 does not say that judgment or wrath shall follow you, but that goodness and mercy shall chase after you all the days of your life. This is not the image of a cold, distant God keeping score, waiting for you to fall. This is the image of a loving shepherd who has unleashed his grace to pursue you relentlessly, even when you are unaware, even when you try to run, even when you feel unworthy of being followed. To be pursued by goodness is to live a life under divine favor that cannot be explained by human effort. It is not earned, it is given, and once it is given, it does not let go. Goodness seeks your restoration, your growth, your transformation. It finds you in failure and calls you by your future. It meets you in the desert and waters your soul. It waits at every crossroad to remind you that you are not forsaken, that there is still a purpose, still a plan, still a path. And mercy is the voice that silences accusation. It is the hand that reaches into your guilt and lifts you out. It is the heart of God, refusing to give you what you deserve, and instead giving you what Christ has already paid for. It does not trail behind waiting for your confession. It runs ahead to cover your shame. When you fall, it doesn't shake its head in disappointment. It kneels beside you, wraps you in grace, and restores you again. The pursuit of goodness and mercy is not occasional. The Word says all the days of your life, not just the good days. Not only the holy days, all. That means on the day you rise early to seek Him, and on the day you oversleep and forget to pray. On the day you walk in boldness, and on the day you stumble in weakness. Goodness and mercy do not take breaks. They do not abandon their assignment. They have been commissioned by the shepherd to walk with you, follow you, surround you until you arrive home. And this pursuit is not quiet. It is loud with the echoes of divine love. It is persistent. It moves through barriers, climbs over doubt, breaks through fear, and runs through failure. The world may pursue you with temptation. The enemy may pursue you with lies. But God pursues you with goodness and mercy, and His pursuit is stronger. The house of the Lord is not a distant place you visit occasionally or afar, off goal reserved only for the end of life. It is a destiny, a reality that begins now and continues forever. When David declared that he would dwell in the house of the Lord forever, he was not speaking merely of a building or a temple in Jerusalem. He was speaking of presence, divine presence. He was speaking of a life lived in continual communion with the one who called him, who loved him, and who walked with him through every mountain and every valley. To dwell is not to pass through. It is not to stop by for a moment of inspiration and then leave again to face the world alone. To dwell means to remain, to settle, to make your home. And the promise of Psalm 23 is that you do not dwell in fear, or in failure, or in the shadows of your past. You dwell in the house of the Lord, and that house is not built with bricks or limited by walls. It is wherever He is. It is His presence, His glory, His heart. You are not a visitor in His courts. You are not a stranger knocking at the door, hoping to be let in for a few moments of mercy. You are His beloved. You belong, You carry his name, you wear his robe. You are invited not because of your merit, but because of his grace. The blood of the Lamb tore the veil so you could enter in not just once, not just on the good days, but always. You were made to dwell. This destiny is not just about heaven someday. It is about walking in the awareness of his presence now. It is about waking up each day and knowing that the King of Glory is with you, that the house is not only where you are going, it is where you already are. You are a living temple, and he has chosen to make his dwelling within you. His Spirit rests upon you. His presence surrounds you. His goodness prepares the way before you, and this is forever, not for a season. Not until you mess up, not until you feel unworthy. This is eternal. The word forever in the original Hebrew speaks not only of time unending, but of intensity, of fullness, of completion. It means your life is eternally tied to his presence. You have a home, and it is in him. So don't live like a guest. Don't pray like a stranger. Don't worship like an outsider. You are a son. You are a daughter. You dwell in the house of the Lord, not by accident, but by divine design. You were called not to visit his presence, but to live in it. And that is not just your hope for tomorrow. It is your reality today. Your destiny is not a distant place. Your destiny is him. We have journeyed through the sacred words of Psalm 23, not as a poetic reading, but as a living revelation. It is more than comfort for the afflicted, it is a covenant for the called. Every line, every word, every phrase is a declaration from the mouth of God to the heart of his people. And at the center of it all, one promise resounds above the rest: I will never leave you. It is the cry of the shepherd. It is the vow of the Father, it is the assurance of the King. From the first step in green pastures to the last breath in the house of the Lord, he is with you. He does not observe from a distance. He does not withdraw when life becomes difficult. He leads, he guides, he restores, he anoints. And even in the darkest valleys, he does not flee. In fact, it is in the valley that his presence is most powerful, his rod most near, his staff most steady. You are never promised a life free of conflict or void of shadows, but you were promised something greater: the unshakable presence of the shepherd. In chaos, he restores. In warfare, he prepares a table. In failure, he extends mercy. In every step of the journey, his goodness follows not with hesitation, but with urgency, pursuing you with relentless love. And here is the mystery: the one who walks with you is also the one who went before you. He walked through the valley before you ever entered it. He tasted betrayal, suffered loss, stood before enemies, and faced the grave. But he did not remain there. He rose, and because he rose, you too will rise. Because he walked through the shadow of death and emerged victorious, you too will emerge. The valley will not define you. The chaos will not claim you. The battle will not break you. The darkness will not destroy you. You are not a visitor in his presence, you are a dweller. The house of the Lord is not just your destination, it is your identity. You were created to walk with God, to know him, to hear his voice, to rest at his table, to drink from his cup, to wear his anointing, and to dwell with him not just on the mountaintop, but in every valley, every trial, every season. So take courage, lift your head. The shepherd has never abandoned a single sheep. His word is true. His promise stands. He is with you now. He was with you then, and he will be with you until the very end, and beyond it. Let every step you take from this day forward be marked with this unshakable truth: you are never alone. The shepherd walks beside you. His rod protects. His staff directs. His goodness follows. His mercy covers. And his house is your home forever.